So all I wanted to do was be alone, and I was in Bolivia at the time, in the middle of an 8-month motorcycle trip through Latin America, and I had this idea of going into the middle of the Salar de Uyuni, which is a salt flat that's 25 times the size of the Bonneville salt flats, and it's just a sea of white, and I wanted to ride 50 miles into the center and just camp and hang out. And so I'm in Lucia, this one city, about 100 miles away from San Martin, which is located just north of the salt flat, and I'm on my way there. About 50 miles into it, on Jenny, affectionately known as my motorcycle, I go over this one berm because the road conditions are getting very difficult, and I'm going way too fast. I'm getting way too confident, way too cocky, and I have this one crash. Go down at about 40 miles per hour. There's this bus behind me that sees it all happen, and they come up and they help me. And Jenny is hemorrhaging oil and coolant, and I thought this is just the end of the trip. I can't do anything. The guys help me. My thumb is broken, but I don't know it at the time. My glove is acting as a cast, and they help me up, and they say there's a town about a mile away. You can try and find help there. So I go there, and there's only about 10 people there, and the man lets me sleep there for the night. And the next morning, I wait on the side of the road to try and hail a truck that will take me back to Lucia where there's a welder. So I find a truck 10 hours later while I'm waiting on the side, and I go back to Lucia, and I meet Chico, which is the man in this town, because everyone is coming up to him with something that they need fixed, because there's no FedEx in Bolivia, and you can't just order a part, you just have to work with what they have. And he looks at my crankcase, which is just bashed in, and I think the trip is over, and he says, yeah, I can do this. And he spends the next 7 hours welding, and he charges me $20 for it. Wow. And the next day I'm on my way back to San Martin. So I go past the scene of the crash, and I managed to navigate it without crashing this time. And then I go past that, and I get stuck into a mud field, and someone helps me there. And then I get up a hill, and Jenny stalls, and I don't know what the problem is, but 2 people show up and it says it's the air filter. I'm like, no, I just cleaned the air filter. And sure enough, there was that. 2 boys in the middle of Bolivia know more about Jenny than I do, this modern motorcycle. And then I am finally 20 miles away from San Martin, and the roads, I'm hitting fork after fork after fork, and my motto is, whenever you're in doubt, just stay straight. So I keep staying straight. I keep staying straight because I'm always in doubt. And eventually, I feel like I'm in this irrigation ditch through all these fields, and there's water rushing by me, and I think this is not the road I should be on. And I get spit out into the desert, and while I'm riding on this flat desert, I see the white, and I see part of the salt flat where I'm going to go. I'm only 20 miles away from San Martin, and I'm captivated by this one mountain. As I'm riding, I'm looking at it, and then I notice the hue of the mud changes, and I'm thinking, there's no clouds in the sky, there's no shadows, and before I realize that's mud, and I'm going at 30 miles per hour, and my front wheel slips out, and me and Jenny go down, and I can't pick her up because she's so heavy and it's so muddy, and I find this one man in a village nearby, and he comes helps me out, and I'm constantly taking breaks, and because he's so much stronger than me, that I just can't keep up with him. I find out later he's 60 years old, but strong as an ox. And so Jenny's not starting, and I wait on the side of the road, and I meet this one vagabond who's just in the middle of nowhere looking for his brothers. And I say, well, why are you looking for your brothers? He says, well, he shows me pictures of them, and he's showing me all these business cards, and I say, wow, there's a lot of brothers. How many brothers do you have? And he says, I have 120 brothers. And I realize this guy's shit crazy. So a truck eventually comes, and Jenny miraculously starts, but I don't need the truck. And I'm riding out last 20 miles, sun's fading, and I see the vagabond, and I say, you know what, just hop on. So he hops on the back, and I'm riding through Bolivia wondering, how did I get here where I'm riding through Bolivia with a vagabond hugging my waist? It was crazy as hell. And we're going through rivers, and Jenny falls over into the river, and eventually we reach San Martin. And he goes off in search of his 120 brothers, and in the morning I open up the curtains to see a sea of blue instead of a sea of white like I expected. I can't go through and into the salt flats because it's been raining too much. And while I wanted to go find solitude and be alone, instead I got friendly truckers, an amazing welder, and a crazy vagabond on my passenger seat. And it was better than company, and I'm glad that I didn't get what I wished for.